This wasn't fan fiction. It wasn't a leaked comic strip. It was official, a once-in-a-generation crossover that gave fans the impossible. DC versus Marvel. Fists first. But before we get into how Batman won and what it really means, we need to understand what brought us here. The long legacy, the shared scars, and the two shadows lurking in the corners of their universes for nearly a century. It begins not with the punch, but with the pain. Bruce Wayne was shaped by loss, a boy in an alleyway staring up at the barrel of a gun. Every night since then, he's walked the line between justice and vengeance. Not because he can fly or see through walls, but because he can't stop, ever. Logan, the man the world calls Wolverine, emerged from war, loss, torture, and more wars. He has no memory of peace, only the sting of adamantium, the scream of rage, and a loneliness so loud it echoes louder than his claws. They are both orphans of trauma. Lone wolves. Soldiers standing through time. And when you put them in the same cage, something primal, powerful, and painfully human takes place. Their first official encounter was part of a comic that promised the impossible. A universe where worlds collided, ideologies clashed, and characters crossed lines both literal and moral. And when the page turned and the bat met the beast, it wasn't a team-up. It was a war. Wolverine struck first. He always does. Rage is faster than strategy. His claws slice through the dark, sharp, quick, lethal. Anyone else wouldn't have seen it coming. But Batman isn't anyone. Even as Logan lunged, Bruce was calculating, not if he'd be hurt, but where and how fast he could adapt. Wolverine doesn't go down. He can heal from anything. We've seen him take bullets, blades, explosions. He's walked through hell. But what he can't heal from is being outplayed. And Batman. He doesn't fight for the thrill. He fights to win in the fight. Every panel became a masterclass in combat and storytelling. Batman didn't rely on gadgets, not yet. He let Wolverine think he was winning. He bled, he fell, he listened. And only when the moment was perfect did he strike, using the environment, exploiting joints, dislocating arms, sliding under the radar of Logan's rage. At one point, Wolverine had him against the wall, claws inches from his throat. "You're just a man," Logan growled. "Exactly," Batman replied. "And you're predictable." The tables turned. The final move wasn't flashy. There were no laser beams or magic spells, just a subtle, brutal takedown. The kind that ends fights, not with glory, but with finality. Wolverine went down, breathing, alive but beaten. And when the dust settled, comics fans didn't rejoice, they froze. Because this wasn't just about two characters. This wasn't about who's cooler, or who wins in a fistfight. This was about what these heroes represent to us. Wolverine is chaos with a soul. He represents the scars we carry, the versions of ourselves that have survived the worst life can throw, and still stand. Batman is control in a violent world. He's the discipline we wish we had. The reminder that even when tragedy shapes you, you can take that pain and turn it into power. So when Batman won, what we really saw wasn't just one hero beating another. It was discipline triumphing over rage. Strategy beating instinct. Mind over muscle, it hurt to watch. Not because it was unfair, but because we saw parts of ourselves in both of them. Fans of Wolverine screamed. They couldn't accept their champion being outmatched. But even many lifelong X-Men supporters quietly admitted the fight made sense. It wasn't about strength, it was about smarts, timing, patience. Strength untempered by thought is a wildfire. Strategy without compassion is cold. Between Logan and Bruce, we saw both extremes battle in flesh and blood. And beyond the panels and ink, What this moment proved is that even fictional fights can teach us deeply human truths. Wolverine will rise again. He always does. That's his power. He survives. He learns. And somewhere deep in Canada's woods or Japan's temples, he's nursing his wounds, waiting for round two. Batman? He won't brag. He doesn't need to. For him, the point wasn't to prove he's better. It was to stop a threat. To outsmart the tiger without killing it. And that's the difference between a soldier and a general. The fans may argue forever. And they should. That's the beauty of myth. But in the silence that follows every great battle, we remember what matters. That these aren't just comic book characters. They are mirrors, reflections of what we admire, what we struggle with, and who we hope to become. You may root for rage, or you may side with strategy. But either way, this fight gave us something rare. A moment where fiction hit harder than real life. Where two worlds collided, Marvel and DC, not to tear each other apart, but to answer a question we never thought we'd officially hear answered. This time, Batman won, but in the hearts of fans. They both did, because for one shining moment, our childhoods collided, our heroes faced off, and we were all reminded why we fell in love with these stories in the first place. Not for the powers, not for the capes, but for what lies beneath them.